Hey guys, good afternoon. It is John C. Morley here, serial entrepreneur. It's great to be with you. It is the day of Wednesday. It's August 2024. Our time is 4:05 p.m. Whether you're with me live at 4:05 p.m., 4:05 a.m., 3 a.m., 3 p.m., 6 a.m., 6 a.m., it doesn't really matter. Thank you so much for being here. Really do appreciate that. Do check out my hat. I have my regular hat on today, not my LED hat. And you can scan that QR code, and that'll take you over to some of my amazing creations at believemeachieve.com. So definitely check that out. Not now, but once the show is over. All right. And you can do that 24 hours a day. And by the way, our shows get turned into a podcast 24 hours after they are aired on the live cast. All right, guys. So this whole week has been about a real amazing topic: ways to reprogram our brain. Ways to reprogram our brain. And so this gets a lot of people stuck because for whatever reason, they just don't know what to do. It's like they go to this fork in the road. It's like, huh? Do I go left? Do I go right? Or, they get one of these packages, right? You've seen these packages before, right? The ones you're almost going to kill yourself trying to open. You know the ones I mean, right? So the ones that you need to literally have more than a master's degree or a doctorate degree just to figure out how to start opening so you don't get yourself cut. All right, so we're talking about how to reprogram our brain. And yes, it is possible. The problem is most people do not put enough time into the effort to reprogram their brain. That's the key. That is the real reason. It's not something you just flash and it's done. It doesn't work like that. It's not like a computer, like I said before. You don't just upload code and we're ready to go. So our topic, ladies and gentlemen, for the week is ways to reprogram our brain. We're on Series 3, Show 33. And the granular topic for today or tonight is unlock the power of your mind with subliminal programming. We're on Series 3, Show 33, episode number 5. Wow. So when we think about the word subliminal, okay, and we're going to go over to my friends at Merriam-Webster. What does the word subliminal mean? What does the word subliminal mean? The word subliminal. So subliminal is an adjective, inadequate to produce a sensation or a perception. This is what they say: existing or functioning below the threshold of consciousness. Aha! That's the one that we are going to talk about. We're going to talk about that one. All right. So first thing I want to talk about is subliminal audio. What is subliminal audio? Does anybody know? So whether you dabbled with it like I have while I was studying for my degree in hypnosis and playing with neuro-linguistic programming and getting certified with that, subliminal audio is not new. It's been around for a very, very long time. Now, in our brain, we have something called our critical faculties. This is the stuff that basically, make sure that we're not doing things wrong. It blocks things that could be a direct problem for us, right? That's how that works. And so when we think about, doing something, if we can't get past the critical faculties, it's like it doesn't go anywhere. It's like it just ends, right? So what hypnosis does is it gets it past the critical faculties. What subliminal audio does is it gets it past those critical faculties as well. So sometimes the sound is so low that we can barely be conscious of it, but yet our mind still picks it up. All right. The original origin of subliminal audios can trace back to early 1960s when the concept first was about messaging and exploring the field of psychology. And so over the years, these audios have evolved and become a popular tool for self-improvement, behavior modification, and things like that. So how does subliminal messaging work? That's a great question. So the way it works is it actually penetrates deep into our subconscious. It passes the critical faculties, okay, and it goes right in. Now, one of the greatest ways, and I'm going to give you a perfect example, right? Let's say you were trying to get a fabric to take a color, right? Well, sometimes what you need to do is you have to prep the fabric, or you have to make the fabric wet so it'll take the let's say the pores of the fabric or the threads of the fabric will take better when it's wet. I'm just giving you this example, right? So our brain, in order to prime it, needs to be ready for it. So you could do hypnosis. That's one thing you could do. You don't have to do that. You could do subliminal. So subliminal is stuff that's just below the conscious level, that the conscious isn't aware of it. We hear it, okay, or we see it, right? So subliminal audio, there's lots of examples for subliminal audio. When you're on a phone call, there are some companies that play subliminal audio. Now, not to do anything bad, but literally just to keep you calm, all right? They're not allowed to use it in a manner that would be derogatory, but to keep you calm is not doing anything wrong, okay? So it affects our brain, okay? And when we do this, it has an impact on us, but I'll come back and talk about it in a minute. So let's talk about subliminal videos. So how do subliminal videos work? Well, one is the audio is just slightly below the consciousness of our what we can hear, right? That we're consciously hearing. And so what is the message? How does subliminal video work? So subliminal video, same thing, or images, they basically go just below, they just get into the consciousness, so just below the consciousness. So there are a lot of people that have done studies on different types of subliminals, audios, videos. And so what are the effects of subliminal programming on the brain? This is probably a very, very big one that a lot of people have questions about. But the first thing is behavioral changes. That's number one. Number two, perceptual shifts. Let's say that you were fearful. Maybe when you were younger, maybe you were fearful from going up the stairs or going down the stairs. With a subliminal program, you might just find yourself getting a little more comfortable looking at the stairs, and even comfortable when you start to descend or ascend those stairs. Emotional responses is the next one. So behavioral changes, that's big. Perceptual shifts, because everything we do in our body is we do it from one to another. We don't do it like a big jump. We do it in like a phase, okay, or a set of phases. Emotional responses. Emotional responses will change when we change the messages, subliminal messages. So subliminal messaging has been a topic of fascination and controversy for many, many years. It's something that a lot of people keep asking questions on. Subconscious versus conscious mind. It's really about the hidden depth of an iceberg, right? We know that there's a lot more below that very big iceberg, right? We know that. But all we see is the tip. And memories that shape our behavior, on the other hand, the conscious mind is the tip, okay? So depths of an iceberg, holding our beliefs, emotions, and memories that shape our behavior. And on the other hand, the conscious mind is the tip of the iceberg, dealing with the rational thoughts and decision-making. Subliminal messaging targeting subconscious mind makes it powerful for influencing behavior without the interference of the conscious reasoning. So that's pretty cool. So subliminal sounds, they work by directly targeting the subconscious mind through a careful set of crafted audio messages. These sounds are often masked by music or white noise and making them just below the level of the conscious mind. And by embedding positive affirmations or suggestions in these sounds, subliminals can bypass our conscious resistance, or what I like to call our critical faculties, and plant seeds of change in the subconscious. Now, how do subliminals influence our behavior? Really simple. They work by repetitively exposing the subconscious mind to specific messages or affirmations. Over time, these messages can start to rewire our beliefs and attitudes, right? Leading to change in behavior. If you listen to a subliminal message about confidence regularly, you may start to feel more self-assured and confident, right? Brain waves and subliminal perception is very important. So our brains operate at different frequencies known as brain waves. Each frequency corresponds to different states of consciousness. And subliminal messages are believed to target the lower frequencies associated with the subconscious mind, making them more effective in bypassing our conscious filters or critical faculties. Okay, very, very important. So subliminals can have a more profound effect on our behavior. Repetition, obviously, it keeps sinking in, right? Learning, the mother of learning is repetition. That's one of them, right? There are other ways you can learn too, mnemonics, etc. So the science behind subliminals. Research on subliminal messaging is still continuing, and studies are going on. They're being debated. There was one study in the Journal of Consumer Psychology that found that participants exposed to subliminal messages were more likely to choose the product associated with those images. While the exact mechanisms behind the subliminals are still not fully understood, they believe this is on the right track. How effective are subliminals? So the effectiveness of subliminal techniques can vary from person to person. Some individuals may be more receptive to subliminals than others, and depending on factors such as belief systems, openness to change, and willingness to engage with the messages, for those who are open to the power of subliminals, these techniques can be a valuable tool for personal growth and self-improvement. Potential risks of subliminals? Well, while subliminal messaging can be a powerful tool, there are potential risks that you should be aware of. If messages embedded in the subliminals are negative or harmful, then they can have adverse effects on our behavior. Now, we said this before. You were programmed when you were younger. Maybe you weren't aware of this, but you were actually programmed when you were younger. And so this is why before you became an adult, there was a lot of your programming put in. In fact, maybe you might have heard things in the past like radis valor mascupiditas. Money's the root of great evil. But, just cancel that out. That's just something somebody said. That is not true. So remember, our perceptions shape our realities. Our perceptions shape our realities. So the best way to explain this to you guys is if I ask you what color car that you drive. I drive a white car. Doesn't matter what kind of car, but let's just think of a white car. You think of a red car, whatever color car you drive. Now, thinking about that car for just a moment, I want to ask you a question. The question is this. Are there a lot of that color cars on the road? If you ask me, are there a lot of white cars on the road? I'm like, yeah, that's all there are is white cars on the road. But you might drive a blue car or a green car or a red car or a purple car or a black car. And you would say to me, no, John, there's more black cars on the road. Well, who's right? Well, there's a perception here. They're probably about equal numbers, right? Because it's what we're being aware of. So what we tune into is what we bring about in our life. Remember what Earl Nightingale said, right? What we focus on, we bring about. What we think about most of the time is what we become, we turn into. So there are many misconceptions about subliminal messaging. Some believe that it's a form of mind control or manipulation. In reality, subliminals are simply a tool for influencing behavior. They're not a magic bullet. I want you to think they're not that. So common myths about subliminals we can better understand. There are many, okay? And so everything comes down to belief. I've said this to you guys, and this is what everything is based on that I talk about. Everything starts with belief. So harnessing the power of subliminals. Subliminal messaging is a fascinating tool that can have a profound impact on our behavior and our beliefs. Whether you're just looking to boost confidence, improve a focus, or overcome bad habits, subliminals can be a valuable, let's say, vehicle on your journey towards self-improvement. Now, a lot of people get frustrated with subliminals because they're like, oh, John, I listened to the thing for 2 days, but nothing happened. So I'm going to give you an example. I've said to you that you need to listen to your messages at least 10 minutes a day, 2 times a day. That's roughly 200 times for the subliminals or the messages, whether it's subliminal or not. When we do that many times, what happens is it brings our dopamine up in our brain. And when that happens, guess what? We create a chemical and a physical reaction in our brain and body. And now when that happens, we want more of that type of environment, right? I want to talk about one. There was some subliminals in Disney. I'm not sure if you guys remember this. So the thing about it is there were messages in the Disney movies. Okay. So Frozen and the Elsa controversy. What possible subliminal messages could be in Frozen? It's a good question. Okay. And the short answer is that most people think they don't exist. Yet there are some people who think they found subliminal messages about Elsa, and rumors have snowballed. Again, your perceptions create your reality. Subliminal messages in that way Elsa lives is defined by what's in the movie. The basic idea that Elsa loves very differently. Okay. Elsa's parents wanted her to hide her powers, which they believe is a metaphor for trying to hide not being straight. Okay. Elsa emerges from a room and she's been isolating herself for a long time. So there are a lot of different ones. There is Snow White and the Secret Owls. This one is hard to believe, but the story has been around for a long while. As long as there's been internet rumors, there's been stories about Walt Disney and the secret societies. So it alleged that Mr. Disney was a member of the Illuminati, various Masonic organizations, and the Secret Owl Society. The rumor Secret Owl Society supposedly dates back all throughout human history and may have been a precursor to organizations such as the Illuminati and the elite gatherings at the Bohemian Grove. So these are just some of them, right? And the thing is, remember, you create these things, okay? So the chances are, let's take a look at the Lion King. They claim that the Lion King was noticed in a poster in the 2022 releasing of the film. And some people thought it was subliminal. The poster features a large portrait of Simba. Remember Simba, right? The lion. Imposed on a bright sunset sky. Some people noticed that the shape of Simba's nose, mane, and nose kind of look like, let's say, a lady not wearing anything, but only a thong or a bikini bottom. So people say it's not obvious, but people are putting these thoughts in. The hidden Mickeys, hiding the magic in plain sight. This is interesting. The mention of the hidden Mickey icons that can be found throughout Disney parks, cruise ships, and even the movies. Some of these are more obvious than others and can be found just about anywhere on Disney property. Are they subliminal or perhaps a secret code of some kind? No, they're not subliminal at all, or any kind of secret messages. They're meant to be fun so that you can have, a challenge to try to find them. So when we think about, like, what is the worst Disney subliminal? I mean, if you go look up this stuff, I mean, it exists. The question is, when you fuel something, that's where it takes on something. Does that make sense? So if you think of something, right, then it's going to take on that flavor. Okay. So I think when we get into subliminals, there were some that were put on Reddit where they were removed. When they were trying to type the word SEX, they had to put the word SFX because Reddit and other companies kept just pulling the post. So it's sad how this is transferred, but people are creating this. And subliminal messages in media have been a topic of intrigue for a long time. Disney, despite its wholesome image, and hasn't been immune to such controversies with legacy spanning decades and whatnot. It's no wonder some of the content has sparked debates and conspiracy theories. So I think that's a big thing. It's something how this happens. I mean, the infamous Lion King dust cloud, they say that it spells out the word SEX. Does it? I mean, if you just look at it in the picture, the way they're circling it, it looks like it. But would I directly think of that if somebody didn't say it? I don't know. I mean, I have to put a little effort into it. Aladdin, there's a scene where a hero is on attempt to woo the princess, Jasmine. Supposedly whispers a rather suggestive phrase, and the line in question is, good teenagers take off your clothes. So these are things that are kind of like muddled. You might have heard the story where if you play records backwards, they would actually give you some kind of a message. The hidden cover of The Little Mermaid. The Little Mermaid, A Tale of Love, Sacrifice, and the tower of the castle is, they claim, representing, let's say, a personal part of a male's body. So I mean, you have to look at, these things. And I have to say that, when you're looking at a picture, right, just looking at it, right, just plain just looking at it, it doesn't look like anything because nothing's really associated. When somebody puts the association to it, it's very easy to say, oh, yeah, it looks like that. But if I just looked at something in the blue, would I have thought that without them saying anything? Probably not. So I think the conclusion is that Disney, with its vast set of films and shows, has given us a lot of memories. Yet, like any legacy, it's not without its controversy. So, there are a lot of hidden messages to questionable portrayals. Was this actually something that Disney meant to do or not? I mean, that's really the question. So here's the thing. If you're going somewhere, right, and you're at a theme park and you're thinking of something, whether it's an X-rated content or whatever, and you're thinking about that, well, everything that you come in contact with, you're going to look for something to be like that. Okay, this is why I've said to you that what we focus on, we bring about. If I'm thinking about having a chocolate candy bar, well, everything around me suddenly could be a chocolate candy bar, right? Even though it doesn't have the right color, it creates that vision to me. It creates that, let's say, appeal from a, let's say, a smell, even a taste perspective, where I can maybe start tasting the chocolate, right? So subliminals are something that have been around for a while, but I think a lot of people have tried to put more in them than what there are. How about the subliminal of Coke at the movies? Does anybody remember that one? So subliminal advertising, it was actually the 1957 market researcher James Vicari claimed that he flashed the words "drink Coca-Cola and eat popcorn" on movie screens for a single frame during previews, which increased sales at a concession stand. Now, Vicari claimed that the words appeared long enough for the subconscious to process, but too short for the viewer to notice. He also claimed that Coca-Cola sales increased by 18.1% and popcorn sales increased by 57.8%. However, no one was able to replicate Vicari's results, and he later admitted that the experiment was fraudulent and that subliminal advertising was ineffective. So I don't want to say that subliminal advertising is ineffective. What I want to say is that it doesn't work that quickly. All right? Because we know that different subliminal messages do work. It's that we have to do them on a regular basis. Just seeing them once is not going to do anything. That's a big challenge. I mean, what other subliminal messages can you think of? I think sometimes, you'll hear, the opening of a Coke or a can. You can hear that. That's probably more attraction getting than anything else, because now you've got something that wants to drive you to opening a can of soda. I'm not a soda drinker, but you get my idea. So is there proof? If somebody asks me, is there proof that subliminal works? I'm going to tell you to be careful with it. Okay. I believe it's effective on long-term usage. You can't just say, gee, I'm going to flash something up there and bam, something. No, it's not going to work like that. But if I suddenly during a movie open up a can of soda, I'm probably going to have an urge to want to go open something, right? Or, somebody shows a a Snicker bar or an M&M bar or a thing of potato chips, right? That sound, that crunch, that's going to make me remember. Because see, the whole thing about subliminal is they're designed to evoke a feeling inside us. That's what subliminal is about. They're designed to evoke a feeling inside us. Once they evoke a feeling, well, then it's like we're all the way down the, the slide, because our body's taken over. Okay. Like, we've got to go get that. How many times have you watched a show, and whether it's for, they have a commercial, maybe it's for Twizzlers, or maybe, you probably know the one for Twizzler makes mouth happy, right? When I say that to you, it's like, oh, gee, you got to go run and find Twizzlers or something, right? Or, if you hear something else where there's a certain phrase they use, right? So let's think about this for a moment. What are phrases that advertisers use to make us hungry? What are some phrases that they use? So I think it's different for everyone, right? It's different for different advertisers. Mouth watering, right? Melts in your mouth, not in your hand. We all know what advertiser that is, right? So I think a lot of people give the advertising more credit than it's deserved. Okay. When you think about juicy food, right? You think about something that's gonna, snap, crackle, and pop. You know what I'm talking about when I say that, right? And then, of course, the picture, right? We think in pictures. We don't think in words. They can time to air during meal hours or popular TV shows to maximize exposure and then make you want to go get that, whether that's a bottle of this, a bottle of that, right? It could be a lot of things. We also know that when you hear somebody have a crack or they do something with a certain food and you see it on the screen, that makes us want to go get that food, right? And I think when we know what that food is, right? If we've had it before, and then we see the advertisers like, oh my gosh, I got to go get that food. So there's something called willpower, and we get into that, but I want to let you know that yes, subliminal advertising works. I don't want to tell you that it's going to be the be-all, end-all for the multi-billion-dollar advertising campaign. Not going to be there. If you put the advertisement on so many times and it has subliminal messaging in it, can it eventually reach your subconscious mind? Yes, it can. But you can also realize that if it reaches your subconscious mind and now you're suddenly going to have soda or have another drink or have a snack or buy a certain food or an ice cream bar or a Klondike bar or whatever it is, you can say, gee, I don't want this anymore, right? You can deprogram or reprogram your brain. So I think a lot of people, just thought that subliminal advertising was just kind of like took off. But does subliminal advertising work? Many people will say no. So the thing about it is there's mixed results, right? Subliminal messages do have an effect, but it is short-lived. So if you're somewhere and something happens, it's only going to be that short-lived. But if you keep seeing it, it could build more of that into you. Context matters, right? Subliminal messages are presented plays, and if the message aligns with a person's existing desires or needs, like let's say I'm watching a movie, and it's like, and you and your friends just want to have that late night pizza. Can't you just see yourself having your teeth sink into that deep crust, fresh mozzarella cheese filled pizza and crust, so fresh that the minute you bite it, every part of it just keeps stretching from your mouth until you break it. You see how that works? So I think what's even more effective than subliminal is creating that emotional experience, that emotional connection. I'll give an example. You're home and suddenly you want a snack, right? And so you're watching a show or you're reading a book and a commercial comes on. And while you're sitting there, you're craving something. You're craving something healthy. You want something you can sink your teeth in, something that's chewable, something that has very low sugar, and something that's flavorful and made with real fruit. That's why fruit roll-ups or fruit chews. And you can get into that, all right? I can tell you that from having fruit roll-ups, they are not the way they used to be. When you think about the other fruit things like fruit bears and stuff like that, they're better. But fruit roll-ups, they're novelty. Okay. They started in 1983, and they have a wide variety of flavors. Okay. And I'll admit they were something fun to play with in school. Like, oh, what do you got? Oh, my mom gave me a fruit roll-up. Oh, that's really cool. I wish I had one of those. Here, you want some of mine? And then you could peel it. It's great for sharing. So I don't want you guys to get stuck on the curb and say, you know what? Subliminal advertising is going to make me multi-billions. It's not. So if you want to use subliminal to complement something else you're doing, great. But I don't want you to think that subliminal is going to be your be-all, end-all. All right? Subliminal audio has a great way, because of the way it hits our subconscious, of doing things for relaxation, motivation. It has a great way of taking a belief that we already want and supercharging it. What I will tell you is any subliminal statement or picture, whatever it is, given to you that is against your morals and values, I don't care how compelled you think you're going to be toward it, you will not do it. All right? So I hope that was interesting. So just to recap, I know this was a long show today, but there's a lot here. So we started talking about, ways to reprogram our brain. That's number one. That's this whole week. And then we talked about unlocking the power of your mind with subliminal programming. That was where we're going for this week, for tonight. What does subliminal mean? We talked about that. We talked about how does subliminal audio reprogram your mind. We talked about how does subliminal video images work. And so they operate just below the conscious mind. So the subconscious mind can interpret them, right? And they bypass the critical faculties. The effects of subliminal programming, we talked about that. And yes, there are benefits of subliminal programming. And that is behavioral shifts, perceptual shifts, and emotional responses. I have to tell you that out of the three, the one that you're going to notice probably most of the time is a perceptual shift. Let's say you're not somebody who works out. You're getting suggestions to work out. Now you're suddenly just craving, well, you know what? I'm going to lift a few weights, or I'm going to go do an exercise for 15 minutes. Before you know it, it's like you get in the habit. It's like, oh, let me add a little more. Let me add a little more. So it's kind of like something that just sort of nurtures and cradles you to just do that because you already want to be healthy, right? So that's what it is. It's I'll call it a cheerleader that can help you, get motivated. But I don't want you to think that it's going to just do everything for you. All right, guys, I am John C. Morley, serial entrepreneur. It has been an amazing privilege, pleasure, and honor to be with you this fantastic afternoon, evening. I hope you'll like, love, and support the channel. Comment below, tag your friends, colleagues, and associates, and please share this out with everyone you know on social media. Do visit BelieveMeAchieve.com for my amazing, inspiring creations. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to catch you guys tomorrow, which is Thursday. That'll be August 15th. Incidentally, in case any of you guys were wondering, I just thought I would share it with you. August 15th is a holy day of obligation for my fellow Christians. It is a holy day of obligation. So in case you are a Catholic and you're wondering, yes, August 15th is a holy day of obligation for Christians. And you're probably wondering, so what is it? Well, it's the Feast of Mary's Assumption. And so this marks the solemnity of the Assumption of Mary, commemorating the end of her earthly life and raising her up into heaven. All right. So do check what churches around you are having services and whatnot. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this, and I hope you understand that the key, okay, the key to unlocking your brain is right within you. You just have to practice and build confidence. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Be well.